Welcome to the Online Trainer Show, where we help fitness and nutrition pros take better care of their clients and build profitable businesses. I'm Jonathan Goodman, and as always, I'm joined by Amber Reynolds. We're happy you're here. Let's start the show.
John.
First off, did you miss the sounds of Mexico? Because we're going to get them today.
Yes, of course. We love the ambiance and of sawing and tile cutting and everything else that always seems to happen when you're there.
Chickens. There's
And
no
chickens.
donkeys where I am now. We probably won't see any donkeys. There's
Any more falling lizards?
Not where I am. There are like parrots and a whole bunch of birds and stuff like that we might hear. Where I am, there's no falling lizards, but that was funny when that fell.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was
cool.
funny. And then it just like gets up and moves away. It's like, yo, that was like a 30-foot fall.
Fine.
We might hear propane delivery, like, yabla, 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 get your propane, or whatever they're yelling. There's also a mattress truck that makes the same kind of sound.
Okay.
It's like, and
Nice.
I can only imagine that they're just shouting over and over and over again, buy a mattress. Buy a mattress, buy a mattress, buy a mattress. Hey, who wants to buy a mattress? Like, I can only imagine that that's what it is.
You should record it and we can put it on our social and like wrong answers only.
Oh
What are
my
they
God, I should do that. That's actually a really funny like Instagram thing.
There you go.
Maybe I will do that. I actually have I think this was Joey's idea, a creative director. He suggested that once a week, every week at the same time, I send the Casio support email a message and ask them to sponsor me and or create me a custom watch. And just post the message every single time and tag Casio on my Instagram and just wait for them to respond and just do it every week.
They have to just to shut you up.
for years. I kind of want to do that. But can we talk about how this podcast is improving your dating life? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Sure, by all means. By all means.
So what happened?
I've never been shy.
Yeah, so what happened?
Well, the guy that I'm seeing right now, he pays attention to the podcast, and so every time a new episode comes out, he listens and offers feedback and all that good stuff. And so it's provided me some street cred. Like he was like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know you had like celebrity status.
Right. He Googled you off of
He did,
wherever you guys
yeah.
met, right?
Which I'm not sure how I feel about that, but yeah. So he Googled me, and my face showed up thanks to the PTDC, and
Amazing.
so I got some additional street cred for dating, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, there you go. He's like, oh shit, you host a web show? What did he called it a web show, I think. So he's probably like 87 years old. He said, I'm pretty sure you told me that he said it was a web show that we're doing here. And
Probably. Well, because I think it showed the YouTube videos. So that's what he was referring to, less so the podcast episodes.
so, Amber, I really enjoyed our coffee together, and I've noticed by doing a search on Alta Vista that you were hosting a show on the internets.
Yes, on the interwebs.
Yes, I believe that he asked Jeeves, who is Amber Reynolds, and your name came up, I think is what happened. Basically,
scary.
I'm just imagining this guy as being like, give or take 75 to 85 years old. He probably boots up his computer in MS-DOS.
Last I checked, no. Although I think you would like him a lot. So if it goes anywhere, I think you all would actually have a lot to talk about.
Fantastic. I hope that he only wears one T-shirt. What's our topic for today, Miss Reynolds?
So I thought today we could go over how do I get my clients to be raving fans and encourage referrals.
Ooh, exciting. Okay. So how do you do that?
Well, I think thanks. Just thanks. When it comes to getting more clients, like this is your best first step
100%.
is by taking outstanding care of your current clients and asking for referrals. So I think the question we kind of have to answer is how do we take outstanding care of our clients so that they do want to talk about us? And then how do we create opportunities so that way it makes it easy for them to talk about us and their work with us?
Sure. And let's talk about referrals first, because a lot of people like the idea isn't that you ask for a referral. That's not really how it happens. You don't ask your client at the end of a session, or if it's an online client, you don't send them an email or whatever it is and be like, hey, I'd really love for you to send me more customers. Like, there's not a special script. There's no gift card that you can give to somebody.
No bribing.
There's no bribing. I mean, if you think about it, like, how deep do we want to get to the psychology of this? There's social norms and economic norms that we all live by. And the famous example or experiment that really illustrates, well, there's two that I'll tell you about. The two famous kind of illustrative examples of this is, the first one was at a daycare. This was an Israeli daycare. And what happened was they had a problem where a bunch of people were picking up their kids late from the daycare, which is a pain because the daycare attendants, like, had to stay later and they had to look after the kids, and it was super annoying. And so what daycare did, in the hopes that it would deter people from picking up their kids late, what they did is they basically said, hey, if you're late, then it's going to cost you X amount of dollars, or it's in Israel, so X amount of shekels. And what they found was that more people picked up their kids late. Because now, as long as they were just willing to pay a couple bucks, they didn't have to rush home from work.
A for effort.
What the mistake that they made was they completely messed up the economic and the social norm. The social norm is, I don't want, these people probably have families to go home to too, or something to do. I don't want them to have to stay late. Once you put a economic price on it, all of a sudden now you change the norm. And it becomes okay as long as you're willing to pay the economic price, a few shekels in this case. Same type of thing, an experiment happened where there was a flatbed truck on the side of a road, on like a street that a lot of people walk on, and there was a TV. And somebody would stop passerbys and say, hey, do you mind just helping me lift this TV onto the truck? Like, I'd help. I mean, obviously you would, Amber, because you could just lift the thing by yourself. And what was interesting was they did a couple different experiments. The first experiment was just asking people if they would help. And like almost everybody did, right? That's a social norm. Once they introduced money to it, they said, hey, I'll give you $5 if you help me. Way fewer people helped. Because now the whole intrinsic, like, I feel good about doing this thing is gone. Like, is it worth me stopping what I'm doing, being later for where I'm going, interrupting my conversation with my friend or family member or whatever it is for $5? No. Is it worth it to help another human being out? 100%. And so when it comes to referrals, this is really important to understand, because messing up the economic and social norms, like you are not, the economic transaction is not in your client's favor. Like, what are you going to give them? Like a $50 gift code, a $20 gift code, a $100 gift code, a T-shirt? Like, they're giving you a customer
T-shirt with your logo on it.
With your logo on it, right? They're giving you a customer worth, like, hopefully thousands of dollars. Like, they know that. And so you have to set it up one of two ways. And there's basically two paths that you could take for this. The first path is to make them feel like they can show off by sharing word of you. And that is largely by celebrating something that they're doing. And so just recognize opportunities to do that. Like, did they lift a bunch of weight in the session? Well, can you actually tally up the total amount of poundage that they lifted in that workout and share it with them? Or create a picture on Canva and be like, Amber lifted 10,270 pounds in a workout today. Holy crap, that's a lot. That's equal to...
How many Casios is that?
Right. But, like, that's equal to X, something that we understand. Right? Yep. That's equal to 2 flatbed trucks. Whatever, right? Like, you could easily figure out that analysis and, like, put that on the Canva thing. And send that to the person or tag the person in that. You bet your butt they're going to share it. And then people are going to be like, oh, yeah, no, I've noticed that you've been looking really good. I've noticed that you've been really energized by your workouts lately. And your client might then get messages saying, hey, can you introduce me to your trainer?
Yep.
That's literally how referrals happen. You just have to recognize these things, have some fun with it, and create something that makes them want to share it because it makes them look good or gives them an opportunity to talk about kind of what they're doing. The second is some sort of the second way to do it is some sort of like social good, giving your client an opportunity to involve somebody else in the process because of something that they care about. So things like charity boot camps, for example, are really, really nice. So we did, this isn't personal training. This is a seminar for personal trainers, but I put on a seminar for personal trainers this a few years back. And what we did is we said to our audience, this was in Toronto, and so we said to our audience, hey, tickets are $60, and it's a day seminar, and I'm going to be giving presentations, then we're going to be doing like community-led stuff. It was actually really neat how the format was. I'd like to do more of it. But tickets are $60, it's going to be catered, and but they're free for you, and they're also free for a guest if you want to bring a guest. And some people were quite happy to pay the $60. A lot of people brought a guest. Great. You could also do the same thing with charity, right? Refer somebody or bring somebody to a charity boot camp, and it's, $20 for the workout, and, everybody who spends $20, like, it goes to whatever you care about. There's a lot of good charities that could use your money. The point is, if there's some outside social good, or you have some sort of incentive that gives an opportunity for your client to bring other people into their world, or your customer to bring people into the world, they'll do it. If you tell them you're going to give them a freaking gift card, if you're just like, I'm going to bribe you to give me customers, that ain't how the world works, right? We live in a socially connected network. We don't need to interrupt what people are already doing. We need to identify what they naturally do and design a system that kind of goes in line with that.
Yeah, something, and you may think this is a terrible idea. I don't know. We'll find out here in a second. Something I mentioned to students. I'm
just gonna lead with this. I know. John, you might
disclaimer.
hate this.
You might. We disagree sometimes. It happens occasionally.
Go on.
But
I'd love to.
I like mentioning so reminding our current clients that, I'm a small business, and one of the best things that you could possibly do for me is to share a post or to tag me in a post that you do about a workout. And so just reminding them those really little actions that cost them nothing. And, remind them that you're a human too, and that you need help to run your business. And so people tend to want to help. And so if we remind them and give them a very easy way to do so, they're likely to do it.
Yeah, I like parts of that, and I don't like parts of that.
That's why I added the disclaimer.
I don't like parts of that. Well, I like a lot of that. And I'll tell you how I would do it if it was me, which doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way. That's why we have a podcast with two people. One of them is much smarter than the other one, and I'll let you guess which one that is, but clearly they're the female. And the point, my trouble with that is I believe that you've only got so many bullets in the ask gun, and you should use those bullets wisely.
Sure.
How many times can you possibly ask somebody to do something for you? And once you use up those bullets, you don't really get them back. Mm-hmm. And so this is professional relationships as well. I'm always very, very, very protective of the bullets in my ask guns in my professional network. And so, and the other part of it that I guess I'll challenge a little bit is going back to it's not necessarily natural to how they do things, right? Like you're asking them to do something outside of what they would normally do. So how could you that? Because I love the idea of reminding them that you're a small business. Everybody pays lip service to supporting small business, and then everybody shops at freaking Costco. So, stop bullshitting yourself. If you're actually supporting small business, support small business, right? Do it. And people want to talk about how they do it, and it is important to a lot of people, and I believe in it as well. even though we shop at Costco, but we do support small businesses in other ways. For example, like local restaurants, like I'm going to drive and pick it up at the restaurant. Like I'm not ordering Uber Eats. Straight up. Anyway, the part, so I really love what you said about reminding people about that. And I also really love that I think it's really important to tell people that you're accepting business and that you are a business, especially because we're in such a relationship business where we get so close to our clients, where they become such good friends. And that's great. But at the same time, like, I think it's really important that you remind them. So here's how I do that. You send your clients emails and documents and stuff like that. Why not put it in the signature of your email? Write a line, for example, that just says in, italics and smaller font under your name that is in the signature, so shows up all the time, and just says, your support is valued. As somebody who runs a small business, anytime you meet somebody who might be interested in learning about what I do or might benefit for what I do, I'm so grateful for any referrals that you might provide to support my small business. I mean, write that however you want in a way that feels good to you, because it is something that should feel good. It is something that's meaningful. And then you're not asking, you're sending them messages anyway, but they're seeing that message over and over again and just constantly being reminded, like, this is a person who runs a business. This is a small business. This is a service I'm happy with. And then if there are opportunities or somebody comments on how they look, or somebody says that they wish that they could get into a fitness routine or whatever it is, you're going to be very top of mind for all of that. As opposed to asking whenever you remember to ask, which may not happen at a time when the person is interacting with somebody else naturally. Like trying to get somebody to think about somebody else who might be good for their service and send them a message, it ain't going to happen. What you need to do is you need to be there top of mind when somebody encounters an opportunity where somebody else asks them about their service.
Yep. So with that being said, then what are some of the key things that you think for making sure that they are just so ridiculously happy so that they are top of mind?
Sure. I mean, it goes without saying that if your service sucks, nobody's going to talk about it. How are you optimizing the small things in your service? How are you creating small little surprise and delight moments, little messages to check in and make sure that they know that you're thinking about them, little gifts in the mail maybe, remembering their birthday, remembering moments that are important to them, asking about people that are important to them. Understanding that, particularly if you work with real people with real lives, not Billy, the 23-year-old Instagrammer who has nothing to do but tells you to drink mocha green tea all day and offers you as productivity tips. Like, if you're, working with real people with real lives, they are going to have a lot of stresses pulling them away from the exercise, and people who are supporting them with the exercise and with the fitness and nutrition routines that are just as important to their journey as you are. And I think appreciating that is a really important piece of the puzzle as well.
Perfect. All right. So I think we kind of led with the hardest part, right? Is the how do we actually get referrals in the first place? And it's a little maybe counter to what we see a lot of, where we see scripts and whatnot about how to email and ask for it and whatever. So I like the direction that we took this in. Any last thoughts that you want to share?
No, that went well.
It did, especially considering it's been a few episodes since we've heard from you.
It has, yeah. I mean,
and you had a birthday while you were gone.
And I had a what?
Oh,
what did I have?
A birthday.
Oh, I'm here. I had a birthday. I did have a birthday.
You did have a birthday.
I feel like I have more gray hair. I think that's just the way that the light is shining on it. But I feel like my hair is getting gray. Not as gray as the guy you're seeing, who we've already established is, I'm going to say 73 years old. So
hey, he offered to come on the show.
Robert. I'm going to call him Robert. So Robert, Next time you find this podcast in your Alta Vista browser, and you boot up your computer. Now important, make sure that nobody's on the phone at the same time, so you don't clog up the old phone internet lines when you dial up. Make sure that check the gray hair, see if we've got the same amount. All right.
I'll keep you posted. All right, bye. That's all.